G'day viewers, welcome back. I hope you've been looking after yourself. Hope you're ready for another cocktail, going with a bit of a tropical feel today. I'm continuing my theme this week of birthdays of people who are notable in drink culture in the 20th century, because by sheer coincidence I found 3 people who were worth making a drink for this week, and today it's one Trader Vic, aka Victor Bergeron, born on December 10th 1902, literally just one day after Lucius Beebe, who I talked about in my last video. And they were in fact friends. They were in the drink culture in the early to mid 20th century, but quite different people. We had Luscious Lucius with his rather flamboyant man about town act, and Trader Vic became known for popularising the Tiki movement. That was sort of recreating a fantasy of this South Pacific paradise, using imagery from South Pacific and Polynesian islands. And there's a whole separate discussion that's happening a lot these days about the appropriation in that. And to give Trader Vic a little bit of a break, no one was really thinking about ripping off Indigenous people in the mid 20th century. At least very few people were looking on that as something they should be worried about. But the drinks were great. Trader Vic had a whole string of his Tiki restaurants around the world. So many drinks that were made famous and invented in his bar. Interestingly, the Mai Tai, which I'm not making tonight, there's a disputed history in the Mai Tai. Was it invented by Trader Vic? Was it invented by Don the Beachcomber? Because they both claimed it. What a lot of people today don't realise, that was actually settled in a court case. Trader Vic had a far more believable story about its invention, including some witnesses who were the people who actually said in the, I forget which specific language it was, but Mai Tai means like the best, and that's where the name came from. So when it actually ended up in court, Trader Vic became victorious. He was the inventor of the Mai Tai. And Don Beachcomber may have been the inventor of the Tiki vibe, but Trader Vic just took it and went large. The drink I'm going to make tonight is one that's not actually disputed. There's one made by Trader Vic, and it's called the Gun Club Punch No. 1. If you're at all familiar with Tiki and other tropical style drinks, you will not be surprised to learn that the Gun Club Punch is essentially a few different rums and a few different tropical fruit juices. It's all about which rums, which juices, and what ratios that make the drinks different. So first up, we're going to start with a white rum, and we're going to do 1 ounce of white rum. We also want 1 ounce or 30 mils of an aged blended rum. Trader Vic used a Jamaican rum. I'm actually going to use this Diplomatica Reserva, which is a Venezuelan rum, one that I happen to quite like. So now we go with 1 ounce, 30 mils of our aged blended rum. We do have a non-rum booze element, orange curacao. You can use the orange liqueur of your choice, maybe Cointreau, maybe Triple Sec. I'm using this Australian dry curacao from Marionette, but we're just adding 1/3 of an ounce or 10 mils of curacao. Now for the juices, we're going to do 1.5 ounces or 45 mils of pineapple juice. Very common element in Tiki style drinks. And now a lot of people say use fresh pressed pineapple juice. The most difficult juice to get fresh in my particular opinion, because you need very specialized equipment to do it. As long as you use like 100% pineapple juice, something that doesn't have preservatives or added sugar, I feel eminently confident that in a blind taste test, no one could tell the difference in this drink, whether it was from a can or fresh pressed from a pineapple. If you can manage it, go for it, but I'm going freshly opened pineapple juice, 1.5 ounces. We're also adding some lime juice. I squeezed some a little bit earlier, slightly less lime juice than pineapple juice. Going to do 2/3 of an ounce or 20 mils of our lime juice. Last few touches, I'm going to put 5 mils or a bar spoon of grenadine in. Homemade grenadine, it's dead easy to make yourself. It's really worth doing. Tastes great. Just 50% pomegranate juice, 50% sugar. Mix them, warm them up a bit on the stove to make it easier to mix the sugar in. And from that, we're going to add 1 bar spoon or 5 mils of our grenadine. Finally, we're going to do the same amount of sugar syrup, 5 mils or a bar spoon of sugar syrup. This is a Demerara sugar syrup I made myself. As you can see, Demerara is a dark sugar. Gives it a really nice molasses taste, which I think will go really well with the rums. So in we go with 1 bar spoon or 5 mils of sugar syrup. We add ice to our glass, put the shaker together, bang it in hard, give it a good solid shake for 10 to 15 seconds. One of the trademarks of Trader Vic's Tiki bars was custom glasses, the traditional Tiki mugs and some others. This one was called the Gun Club. The traditional way he served it was in a mug shaped like a gun cartridge. That's a proprietary glass that he had, which I don't have. I happen to have this one I quite like, a cut glass Tiki goblet. And it's traditional to serve this over crushed ice. I crack some ice into here. So now I'm just going to strain with a hawthorne strainer. Because the crushed ice, I don't need any fine ice strained out of it, and the fruit juices were all strained before I put them in. So we strain that into our glass. And there we have our Gun Club Punch number 2. Now, if you are the sort of person who's really into garnishes, Tiki and tropical drinks is where you go to town. Just all the fruit, put all the fruit on a skewer in here. I'm not going to do that for myself, but I'm going to note one other thing. You notice it's a cloudy color drink. Little secret about Tiki style drinks, one of the reasons, if not the prime reasons, that Tiki tend to be served in ceramic mugs is the drinks aren't that visually appealing. They tend to be rum based with a lot of the juices, so you tend to get this kind of orangey brown coloured drink, which is not the most appetizing visually. And so this is where I think, this is where milk clarification is going to come into its own. So I actually did, for comparison, a milk clarified version of this as well. And here we have the milk clarified Gun Club alongside the original. It's come up a really light, clear yellow. Quite a dramatic change. That's why I love doing the milk clarifications. It never stops surprising me how it comes out. I did learn one thing, and this has happened to me more than once, and I'm gonna really remember this from now on. Sometimes when you do clarification, you get a really beautiful, clear drink, and then, hey, I'm gonna store this in the fridge. There's a chemical reaction with the temperature drop, and I think particularly with the milk, there's some fats, some oils that come out of solution, and it gets a little bit cloudier. As clear as this looks now, when I first did it, it looked even more clear. But that's the visuals. Let's get down to the taste. What does your classic Gun Club punch taste like? Oh my God. If you like your rum and you like your fruit juices, Tiki is so the way to go. It's a really nicely balanced. I often joke that Tiki drinks, it's just all the rum and all the juice, but there's been quite a bit of work done in finding the balance that gives you the best flavor, and this is a really good one. Now, I haven't taste tested the clarified one yet. Very keen to, because I've had good experiences in the past with milk clarifying Tiki. The rum and fruit juices really lend themselves to it. So here goes. That's the lime really pops in this, which is really interesting because in this one, the rums and the pineapple are what you notice most, but when I taste this one, it's a much milder flavour, and the most noticeable part of it is the lime, really. A little bit of pineapple. It's certainly taken the edge off the rums, and now it's just left me in this terrible situation where I have two different but quite delicious drinks I'm going to have to finish. So I'll have to leave you now. I hope to see you again soon. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, it would be great if you did subscribe, hit the notification bell, tell your friends, come back next time. There's a lot more to be going. One more birthday themed cocktail later this week, and much more beyond that. I hope you look after yourself. I hope to see you again soon. I will leave you for now. Cheers.